All right, we are in a lightning talk. Please mute your phones if you haven't already. My name is Andy. I have up here our speaker, Travis Knapp-Prasek. He is talking about Sans-Serif rules everything around me. So go for it.
Cool. Good morning, everyone. Yep, I'm Travis, and this is Sans-Serif rules everything around me. It's a journey into deception, phishing, the law, social media, and also the Fortune 1000. So I live in San Francisco, went to City College of San Francisco, wrote this talk about 6 months ago, and got accepted. Started working for NCC Group down the street. So here we go. So social media is a big thing. Everyone uses it. We've got some URLs here, and to me, they look pretty much like the same thing. You can take a closer look. Does anyone see a difference between these? Would you say they're the same link? If you think they're the same link, raise your hand. Cool, you read the description of this talk. So let's talk about style. Sans-serif is a style of font. Arial is a sans-serif font. Courier is a serif font. And the difference is you can see Courier has little like swoops on the end called serifs. And most computer applications use sans-serif fonts. And that lies the issue. If you walk down Market Street, this is the word serif written in a sans-serif font, just to confuse you a little bit. So what's the big deal? We've got a fake bank called Luxury One Bank. That is a lowercase l. We've got iUxury One Bank. That's a lowercase I. You can use this to do an IDN attack, an internationalized domain name homograph attack. For example, those two links, if we look at the code, you can see that the bottom one is actually an uppercase I. Now Facebook displays links in mixed case format, upper and lowercase, so you can get away with this. Same thing for Twitter, you can do the same thing. Same thing for Gmail. Same thing for Apple iMessage. And it goes on and on. Now that you've seen this, you're going to start noticing a lot of services you use have the same issue. So what can we do with this? How can we have some fun? So first I looked at the Fortune 500, but I stepped back and said, I'll look at the Fortune 1000. And I looked for companies with the letter L in their name. There's 535. Just one L. I didn't look for two. And let's see which ones have registered the misspelling. So I alternated that first letter L with an I and did a who is records to see if anyone had owned them. And there are 447 companies without the unregistered version, or who hadn't registered that misspelled version. So that's a big, that's a lot of fun you could have. And I did it with the letter I as well. It's not as deceptive, but you can still do it with I, converting that to L. There's 605, and this is just one instance of I, not two. So 472 unregistered I versions. And as a bonus, there's, is that showing up? There's some companies that just haven't registered their domain names as they're listed in the Fortune 1000 at fortune.com. So that's a big attack vector if you want to have even more fun. So I reached out. I made some proof of concept using the Fortune 25, the most valuable companies in the world. There were 7 companies without the registered versions. So I registered 5, put up a little educational page saying, hey, this isn't what you're looking for. Hit up Google, Twitter, Apple, Facebook. Everyone but Apple responded within 3 days and said, yeah, we see that's a problem, but we're not going to change anything. So that's that. Apple responded, but I never really heard their thoughts on this. So some companies actually have a defensive measure. For instance, Facebook, in the URL preview, on the bottom of the image for the site, it converts it all to uppercase, which kind of gives the user a chance to notice something is up. When you type in your URL in the browser, it converts it all to lowercase usually, like Firefox, Chrome, and Edge all do this, which is kind of cool. So that's the problem, that they're displaying things in mixed case. So I had these domain names for the Fortune 25, and I wasn't doing anything with them. They were just sitting there. I wasn't spamming people with it. I'm not trying to get in trouble. So they said, hey, this isn't what you're looking for. So they're just sitting there. And I started getting these weird emails from law firms saying, hey, your website is violating this company's trademark. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see where this goes. A law firm hit me up and tried to get legal threats against me for just owning these domain names and having a little informational page up trying to help people. They called it an unsolicited lesson in internet security. So I would offer the companies the domain name. Most of them are cool with just me taking it down and having it point to nothing. The one law firm, I tried to give it to them. I gave them an auth code to let them own the domain name. And I woke up the next morning, it was pointing to a huge spammy looking page. So I was like, oh, they got me. Like I got by someone else. But as it turns out that they just set it up wrong. And the funny thing was is they wouldn't CC me on an email with the company I was trying to reach out to, which was a little suspect, but they had patents and whatnot. But it brought up my thought that there's companies that are monitoring for this, but instead of registering the domain name, they're just sending out legal threats. And I don't think that's the right way. If you work for a company and you have this problem, just register the name. It'll be a lot easier to deal with and probably a little bit cheaper. And some things you can do to monitor this is just check the misspellings. There's a script called DNS twist, which will run through a bunch of different permutations of your domain name, and it'll say, hey, this one is registered, this one isn't, you should check it out. There's a screenshot in the next slide. And there was actually a talk last year that I found out about last week by Rob Reagan and Kelly Albrink. They took a deep dive into the subject, and it's amazing the things they found. And just hop on Google and type IDN homograph attack. So yeah, this is DNS twist on that domain I registered, Luxury One Bank. And you can see it's found the iLuxury One Bank, and it gives you the IP address. There's some subdomain called ebank.com, which just takes any input you put in before that and sends it to their IP, which is kind of suspicious, but who knows. And some untold things I didn't see coming was with my fake websites in my browser, when you're typing your address out, the letter I becomes before L, so that fake website gets filled before the real one. That's kind of like an interesting find if you don't clear cache or browser history. And this has been used to get malicious Python libraries into the official repository for Python. It was called Jellyfish, and the first L was actually an I. And it was stealing SSH keys, and people were just installing it. It's the sixth time that's happened against the Python libraries. And then if you're looking for certificates, I have mixed opinions, but I'm cool with whatever gets people learning about the subject. There's a group called ThugCrowd. They have the Certified Lowercase Security Shitposting Professional Certificate, which is shown here. You can hang on your wall. Quick glance, it looks like you have really gone the extra mile for your knowledge. And yeah, I recommend checking that out. And that's me. Forgot to change the last slide for the title, so it's a little misconfigured, but thank you. And I got 3 minutes left if anyone has any questions.
Did anybody respond in a way that you were like, wow, they responded well?
One company was just like, oh, that's really cool you found that. If you just take it down, we're cool. But no one was like, what can we do to prevent this? No one really seemed to care. And the company I work for, this is a really successful phishing attack. Like it always works. So, and there are security companies out there that have this issue, which I find interesting. And I reached out to them, and they just didn't respond. So, up top.
Did you look at people using letters imported from other alphabets?
No, I decided to keep this topic just to L and I, since it's the one of those, because I know there are some defenses against that. But yeah, that is the other.
Yeah, like a Cyrillic A, for example.
For sure, for sure. Cool. All right. I think that's it. So thank you for coming.
No one paid you for them? No one gave you money for those domains that you'd registered?
No, just legal threats. Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, have a good rest of the conference, and thank you.